you wanna be my friend? It's Lily's friend project. She asked people to apply to be her friend, and then she interviewed them. And when she interviewed them, she saw New York City's a big, big place. Have you got a shot with the human race? Is loneliness what we've all come to expect? From Ridgewood, Queens to 150th Street, it's Lily's Friend Project.
Hello, my name is Lily, and 6 years ago, when I was 22, I moved to New York City. When I came here, I had this really specific dream of what my life here would be like and feel like. And a major component of that dream was this vision I had for a friend group that would be perfect for me, that I would just stumble into. Like this friend group, it kind of looked like what you might think of from TV or movies, where everyone's like this quirky character with a hairdo, and everyone's just always free, having brunch and laughing at the sunset. But when I came here, the reality was super different, and most of my time was just spent working or commuting or staring out my apartment window at this really particularly depressing tree, wondering if that tree felt more out of place than I did in New York City. And the strange part was, whenever I managed to have an honest conversation with another New Yorker about this, many of them admitted to feeling just as disconnected as I did. It made me question whether or not everyone in this city, or possibly the world, felt as disconnected as I did, or if there's just something particularly disconnected about me. Once this question sort of came into my general consciousness and I had thought it for the first time, I couldn't stop thinking about it. It didn't make sense to me. If all of us felt this disconnected and lonely, why didn't we all just hang out? I felt like those people I spoke with, they always said that they didn't have time to hang out, or I'd just go on this wild texting goose chase with them where I'd ask them to hang out so many times and they'd just kind of flake out on me in the end. And in recent years, there's been increasingly more and more studies coming out saying that an overwhelming majority of American adults feel extremely lonely. So that really told me that my experiences speaking with people were really legitimate and backed up. It made me feel really even more confused because I just had this thought, if there's so many lonely people, why can't we all just hang out? Where are they hiding? And furthermore, if I manage to find where they're all hiding, how can I make sure that they and me would actually even get along and want to be friends? So, I did what any rational person would do. I created a 40-question friendship application and I started interviewing potential friends like it was a job. This is your official welcome to the Lily Friend Project, where we'll explore if it's possible to manufacture authentic connection in a city that often feels designed to keep us apart. So what is your name?
My name is Emma.
Andrew.
My name is Renata.
Sam.
Francis. Leah.
Samuel.
Where did you find the questionnaire?
I think it was 8-Ball community that reposted it.
I saw a flyer on the street, hiding from a signpost. I was like, heading to D&D. I was like, that's weird. Might as well follow up on that.
Yeah, I saw an Instagram post. It was the middle of the night. I was about to go to bed. I was super sleepy, and then I decided to fill it out, and then I realized it was very long, and so I just, one of those things, random.
A flyer on, I believe it was 28th and Park approximately.
I found this questionnaire off of someone I followed on Instagram.
Well, I saw it advertised on a flyer in Williamsburg, where I live. It just reminded me of something that I would have seen in art school, many years ago, and just seemed interesting.
A friend saw it on the street and sent it to me because she was like, "This is some shit you would do."
The Lilly Friend Project was this, eensy weensy tiny little idea that I had in the midst of this huge city. It was just born out of loneliness in the midst of all these people feeling desperate to somehow manifest this dream friend group that I'd always wanted and pictured for what I would have in New York City. And like most ideas that come from desperation, it quickly turned into obsession. I spent weeks trying to create the perfect questionnaire of 40 questions, ranging from what do you think about Billie Eilish and why, to describe a friend breakup you've experienced in 1,000 words or more. I wanted these questions to go beyond the surface level of friendship platitudes. I wanted to really understand potential friends' limits and experiences. Then, when I was done with the questionnaire, I put the questionnaire on a website for people to have easy access to it. Then came the flyers. Over 400 of them, to be exact. Each one read, "Do you want to make more friends? Do you find the whole process of making friends as an adult difficult? Well, I've devised a genius foolproof method to make friends. All it involves is filling out a survey and then being willing to be filmed during an in-person interview in Manhattan. That's it. Ready to get started? Go to lilyfriendproject.com. I became a one-woman guerrilla marketing team. From Harlem to Flatbush, from Ridgewood to the Lower East Side. I marched through 40-degree weather, taping up flyers on every available surface. My fingers might have been numb, but my determination was burning. And the response was really overwhelming. And just like that, I found myself juggling interview schedules, securing locations, finding friends to be in the room with me and the applicant so no one felt uncomfortable, spending entire weekends, we're talking 8-hour days, just sitting across from strangers trying to see if we would be a good friend match. And it didn't stop there, folks. Even now, I'm knee-deep in audio files, notes, writing, editing, producing this show. All this effort, all this time, often doing tasks that are explicitly tasks one does alone, just to make friends. So you see why, at this point, I might be wondering, is there something wrong with me? Is there something in me that's disconnected from making friends? Because let's face it, most people don't make an entire podcast just to expand their social circle. But then again, maybe this elaborate, somewhat ridiculous process is exactly what it takes to forge real connections in a post-pandemic city that can feel really isolating. Or maybe I'm just really bad at small talk. Either way, I guess we're about to find out.
It's Lily's Friend Project.
As part of my research into disconnection, I interviewed Dr. Sam Carr, a loneliness expert from the University of Bath. Our conversation delved into the complexities of human connection and the nature of loneliness.
I often say to some of my students that you could do an entire degree that focused on attachment theory and still not really do it justice. So it's a really complicated theory, but I suppose some of the basic ideas around attachment theory are that the emotional attachments we share with other people are absolutely critical for our psychological well-being and even our physical well-being, actually.
Dr. Carr's insights made me reflect on my project and what motivated me to do it. I asked him about this directly. How might attachment theory explain my impulse to formalize friendship like this?
I suppose it's a bit like, in a way, it's a bit like the sort of online dating notion. You can connect with people that way, but there's no guarantee that an attachment will form from that, an emotional attachment, because there's quite a lot of evidence that what it takes to form an emotional bond with somebody is perhaps a little bit of a mystery still.
This got me thinking about the initial question I asked at the beginning of this episode. Am I just dealing with the same sort of loneliness and disconnection as other people? Or is the very fact that I'm doing this podcast an indication that there's something disconnected about me?
You are often left to work out, and nobody teaches you any of this. How on earth do I find my emotional connections and my tribe? Or, like you said, that sort of safety net that you once had in your family, and your family still are it probably, but in a different way. So I think you are faced with that challenge as an adult, of somehow in this world finding a network of emotional connections that are enough to sustain you for the rest of your life.
To properly answer this question, I tried to speak with an ex friend, someone who now dislikes me. I thought, who better to answer this question than someone that I went from connection to disconnection with? When I racked my brain for anyone in my whole life who I would think could really shed light onto this, the person that I really thought of is a person that I will call C. Just to give you a little backstory, C and I met about 10 years ago when I was in college. So, C and I were close for the first 6 to 7 months of college, but then our relationship drastically changed. I was going through some mental health challenges, and C said they needed distance because my anxiety was too much for them at the time. Despite this, though, we had planned a cross-country road trip together, and we still went on it, and it was really uncomfortable. We then moved into the same small co-op for 3 years, and during that time, not only did C date two of my best friends, but they also had a lot of the same friends as I did, and we also shared very small, communal, intimate living quarters. And throughout all of that, and even to this day, when I run into them at mutual friends events, they are distant, cold, and often straight up rude to me when we interact. This situation has gone on for almost a decade now, and I have literally no idea what caused them to dislike me so much that they would give me the cold shoulder in such an extreme way for so long, other than I made them feel uncomfortable due to my anxiety. The way they treat me, it makes me think that there must be much more to the story, and I sincerely wish I knew it. It's so confusing, and I hope that one day I can understand where C's coming from better. Unfortunately, we couldn't reach C to get their perspective on the matter, but, it just made me wonder further about the nature of disconnection itself. Dr. Carr had some interesting thoughts on this.
If we live in a world that constantly bombards us with the idea that loneliness as an experience means you're broken, or there's something wrong with you, or you carry some sort of deficit compared to other people, then there will often be a sort of layer of shame that you have to get past before people are comfortable talking about their loneliness.
This idea of shame around loneliness really resonated with me. It made me wonder if my entire project, the Lilly Friend Project, was born out of this shame. A desperate attempt to prove that I'm not broken or disconnected.
Being alone with your loneliness is worse than sharing your loneliness. It still exists either way. You either hide it away and put it in the recesses of your mind, but it's still there and you know it is, or you share it with other people.
As we couldn't hear from C directly, my collaborator Noreen is going to interview me about my side of the story. Through this, we'll explore whether there's truly something uniquely disconnected about me, or if this experience is part of the universal human struggle with connection and loneliness.
Can you start by telling me a little bit about your relationship with C?
Yeah, I met them about 10 years ago, and I would say we were friends for like 6, 7 months, and then the other like 9.5 or so years that I've known them, they've kind of seemed like they like hate me. We went on a this kayaking trip together, and um we sort of made friends on that. Um and really just like bonded over a lot of things, and They just were really outgoing and fun and like funny and loud and sweet. And so, yeah, it was like quite easy to be friends with them, I would say.
And when did you feel like things started to go south in your friendship?
So I was going through some mental health things, and I was like, it just really changed my life a lot. And I noticed a lot of people were responding to me very differently. And C and I were like pretty good friends before that had happened. So then after, when they were really like distant, I texted them and I like asked to hang out and meet up to talk about what was going on. And they told me that they struggle with a lot of anxiety, and that I my presence made them feel more anxious. So they wanted more space.
Oof. What did that feel like at the time?
For me, I felt crazy. I felt like a crazy person. And I was just felt like every day I was just like waking up, trying to like hold on for my dear life and like get through the day. And there was just a lot going on with me that summer.
I'm curious to hear about if you think your perspective on everything that happened with C has shifted at all throughout this process.
I guess I just feel a lot less like shame around this thing. And I just feel more curious. And I think that's just like has let me generally feel better about feeling lonely. I think that's like the only antidote is like just wanting to be more curious and less ashamed, I suppose. So, Dr. Carr really talked about loneliness as a part of connection and disconnection as a part of connection. So, something I'm thinking about is that maybe like because C experiences so much disconnection ostensibly when they see me. Maybe they're more connected to me with than some people that I feel more close to, because they're like able to see a part of me that other people aren't. Like that's like why I really also wanted to talk to them so bad, is because I feel like maybe they can see something in me that I don't see, and that like my friends don't see, and that people that I, other people that in my life that I could get to interview about what a friend, what I'm like as a friend, they don't understand this part of me. Something else I was thinking about when I was interviewing Dr. Carr was how he was talking about how the type of loneliness older people experience is kind of unique, because they're really like in a place where they're just continuously losing everything that they had attachment to in their whole lives as they get older and older and older until they die, and how that sort of loneliness is a really different kind of like he calls it an existential loneliness. um and that really just made me think too about how maybe loneliness is also just like a reckoning with like impermanence.
Yeah, and after talking to Dr. Carr and working on this project, how do you feel about the whole situation with C now?
I feel a bit emotional, and I think that's why I get so upset about this situation. Is I It's like hard for me to like even want to like put myself back into the mindset that like would accept that and like let it go so easily, because I really felt like every day I was like waking up just trying to like keep my feet on the ground. Like I felt like really bad. um and I felt like I was like really trying to reach out for help, and I couldn't really. It was really hard. Like it was really difficult. I didn't feel like I had a lot of support in my life. And so I think also to like kind of standing up for myself like that, I like just did not have the tools. But it makes me emotional to like just to remember back at that time, and remember and like kind of more logically think in like more of like a logical frame of mind like I'm in right now, rather than the like crazy frame of mind I was in then about what had happened. And yeah, I feel sad. Like it's not cool. As I reflect on my experience with C, and my conversations with Dr. Carr, I'm left with more questions than answers. But I'm beginning to see how my personal experiences with disconnection might be part of a larger, universal struggle with loneliness and connection. In the upcoming episodes, it's not going to be me just yapping at you. We're going to be diving into the interviews with the people who applied to be my friend through this project. And I promise you, these interviews are not to be missed. The insights, stories, and perspectives on friendship and connection that these people shared are truly enlightening and entertaining. We're gonna dive head first, no wetsuit, into the freaky, murky waters of human relationships. And maybe we're gonna find some answers. But maybe we're just gonna, learn how to ask better questions. And if you've made it this far, thank you so much for joining me on this deeply personal journey. I'm excited to share the rest of the season with you. Stay tuned as we continue to explore a human connection, one friendship application at a time. The Lilly Friend Project was created and hosted by me, Lily Hogan. It was post-produced, edited, and sound designed by Noreen Mullick. The theme music was created and performed by Bridge Gamble. Special thanks to Dr. Sam Carr. Thank you so much. If you liked this podcast, please head on over to your platform of choice and rate and review us. It really makes a difference. Additionally, we're on TikTok and Instagram, just the show title, so you can just type that into those platforms. And also, I created a secondary questionnaire, which I put on the website. Again, lilyfriendproject.com. It's just the show title.com. And there you can fill out this secondary questionnaire, which will automatically spit you out into a Discord community where we'll be doing live events and just generally trying to build community the Lilly Friend Project way. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.